Crazy play up the seam.
Alright. Let's see what we can do today, baby, to prevent
Next up, we got the drive flood.
getting our asses
It's a
beat
man-beating play
in
for
the
the most part. It's
leagues.
going to pick cover one man. Pretty much all these routes are man-beating routes. You can see the tight end is probably the star of the play, but everything here beats man. Except for the B route. The B route's the one that doesn't. The Y route gets across the formation pretty quick. It's a really good check down. So it's just a bunch of man beating concepts, although they're only over the middle. Except we get the halfback zone weak. Against zone, you can motion over one of these, either the tight end or the receiver. I've made a lot of motion in this formation, so it shouldn't tip your hand by any means. And then you can see you can have a really successful run play behind that diamond cluster of receivers. You can flip it if you want to. You can run it as is. Like right here, we have a lot of spacing going to the strong side and tight end side. But typically, you want to go the opposite way to cover 3 safety. And that's pretty much the play. Like I said, you can make any number of motions here. You can motion the tight end if you want. You can motion the receiver. It doesn't really matter. The tight end, obviously, a lot of times is a better blocker. So in a lot of scenarios, that would make the most sense. But it's a very consistent run play in this formation. Next up, we got the jet sweep. Dogfight's going to work best against cover 3, cover 4 zone, man coverage and stuff like that, but you can see it's just a very, it's a quick inside handoff, which a lot of formations you have a lot more time where these receivers are motioning across. So the fact that this is so quick should give your opponent a little bit of a harder time stopping it. So it's going to be best right here. We have the cover 3 safe in the box on that side anyway. Run to this side. Next up, we have the PA boost slide. All you have to do is put the A route here on a streak, and the B route should be just about any zone coverage outside. If it's a man coverage, the X route coming across the center is going to be your best bet. The zig, without, if it's a man coverage, you can leave the zig. The zig itself, the A route's a pretty decent man check down, but I like to go zone heavy.
Alright, Vander Esch got to go.
The Y route also is a good route underneath zone. So really, the streak is just a pullback coverage, and then you're pretty much just reading front to back. The short route underneath will be cover 3, cover 4 zone. The X route will be man, and the B route should just be just about any zone coverage outside. This one's like cover 2. We're going to beat that outside very easily. You'll have explosive play. I mean, against cover 2, probably won't get touchdowns. I threw that a little bit earlier.
Oh,
but
shit.
Pretty much beat
got
any
no
zone
money.
coverage outside. Next up, we get the halfback stretch. When there's no cornerback out here, like this looks like we've got a blitzing safety, it's typically best to take it to the side that it's, the default side. But if it's a zone coverage, typically you want to flip it and run it back towards the receivers because you'll have a blocking advantage behind the receivers. So ultimately, against zone coverage, flip it. Next up, we have the halfback zone weak. It's one of the better inside run plays. Although here you can see that safety come down the box. We're going to flip it against a look like this. As you can see, it's a good, just as long as the guard gets off the double team, typically you'll have a successful run play inside. Because the guard is going to be your lead blocker. Here's another look. I don't know if this is really something that I want to go. But you see, he starts on a double team, typically gets off. It's just a good inside run. One of the better inside runs in the formation. Next up, we got the PA boot. You can run this against just about anything. Put the Y around the drag, put the A around the streak. I block my running back. And this is pretty much it. You're going to have, one of these crossers should get open just about every single time, man or zone. They pretty much both get open, to be honest with you. The only thing you really have to worry about is the actual, other than the blitz, as you can see, we have a lot of pressure coming here. But the only thing you have to worry about is the user covering the crosser. If that happens, just take the drag and check down. Next up, we got the halfback zone weak. This play right here, just, as long as you have a gap, like right over the guard, that's typically going to be the best play. It's going to work best against spread defenses where the linebackers are typically out wide. But ultimately, you're just following this guard. Once he gets off this double team, you typically get to the linebacker, but right there, you can do that. Next up, we got the PA Y drag wheel. Doesn't work against just about any man or zone. Just put the A route on the streak, put the X route on a drag, and maybe block the RB route. All I'm going to do here is just, the A route is really typically not the receiver, but you can see right here in cover 3, a lot of times he can get open for a very good play right at the seam. That's probably the only read where I would go to the tight end. Other than that, I'm pretty much just going to the crossers. Here it looks like we have an all-out man blitz. Cancel that play action pretty quick. And then you can see, like I said, that's something, you're under center, so you can get blitz heavy out of a formation like this. But let's do that again. Like I said here, that's cover 3. That A route could be gone. Although it looks like it is a big play, at least, once again. If you have a fast enough tight end, you can obviously make that play. But I'm really trying to hit the crossers here if they give you some looks. So let's go, let's do that. Let's try to get some crosser looks. You can put the running back on a pass block too. You don't need to do the play action. I like the play action, but here's typically the biggest play is to this guy here. Then you can see you get a one-on-one, make a miss, you could be going, but Tyrann Matthews not gonna let that happen. Next up, we got the halfback blunt dive. This is one of the better run formations in the
Alright, we ain't gonna be able to fuck with nobody in there. It's all bad. Make some draft picks, baby.
The receiver, but you can see right here in cover 3, a lot of times he can get open for a very big play right at the seam. That's probably the only read where I would go to the tight end. Other than that, I'm pretty much just going to the crossers. Here it looks like we have an all-out man blitz. Cancel that play action pretty quick. And then you can see, like I said, that's something, you're under center, so you can get blitzed heavy out of a formation like this. But let's go, let's do that again. Like I said here, if that's a cover 3, that A route could be going. Although it looks like it is a big play, at least, once again. If you have a fast enough tight end, you can obviously make that play. But I'm really trying to hit the crossers here if they give me some looks. So let's go, let's do that. Let's try to get some crosser looks. You can put the running back on a pass block too. You don't need to do the play action. I like the play action, but here's typically the biggest play is to this guy here. Then you can see you get a one-on-one, make a miss, you could be going, but Tyrann Matthews not gonna let that happen. Next up, we got the halfback blunt dive. This is one of the better run formations in the This is one of the better run plays in the formation. You're pretty much going to look for a lane like this where typically that defensive end is out wide enough that he takes himself out of the play. That's pretty much the best way to put it. Typically that left guard will pull and get to that second level right there. He didn't quite get enough. But that's pretty much going to be your look. The only other look you want to run is like right here, you can see they're kind of spread. I'd rather flip this though. We have a lane here, and you can see we have additional blocking, so we should have somebody get to that second level. And you can treat this like a stretch run right there. I messed it up by hitting my lineman, but you can see there was a huge lane opened up to the outside there. So it's an inside read first, then you can take it outside. You can really flip it to either side with the right stick. I find that the best thing is going to be a spread alignment, or if they're shift towards, if they're overly shifted towards the two tight ends. Next up, we got the close PA cross. This is a good cover 3 or cover 4 one-play touchdown as is. Just block the running back and make sure that you roll in the direction of the throw. As soon as it gets inside the safeties, the bullet passing over the top, and you can see you get behind pretty much any defense as long as you have enough speed. I'll go to the replay real quick just to show you guys what I'm looking for. Because like I said, there is a glitch. It's been in the game for a very long time that when you roll the direction of safeties, they typically don't draw back as quick. Now here, the safety does draw back, but basically I'm just waiting for this guy. Once he gets inside of this safety, like that, I can pretty much throw the ball. So you can see I actually kind of threw that a little bit early, but you can see the second he's beyond the strong safety, the only person that can really make a play on this is the strong safety. So once he gets past that depth, it's also a pretty safe time to throw, because I'm bullet passing away from this safety, so there's not really a play that he can make. I'm just basically throwing it to space. Other than that, this play has a lot of good man and zone beaters. If you go against like a cover 2 zone, or cover 2 man, I'm sorry, you basically have a couple of good routes. The crossing routes are all good routes when it comes to cover 2, or any man really. So the RB route, the B route, all these routes are going to have success when it comes to pretty much any zone. I mean, man or zone. But against man, your tight ends are going to be good. Against zone, you're going to have a lot of success as well. So we'll go cover 3 lock just to show you guys that you can basically just run this like a lot of plays that I'm showing, where you're basically just kind of reading from front to back, and then you can see that one of these guys is going to get up against pretty much any man or zone defense. Next up, we got the PA boot left tackle. Run this against random, but ultimately this is pretty much a man-beating play. You're going to go from the RB route to the A route to the X route. That's going to be your looks right here. It looks like we have an all-out man blitz, but that's pretty much going to be your reads. This is going to be your money play against man blitzes, but ultimately the comeback route is going to be good as well. Looks like we have another man blitz. I picked random, I swear. But here, I mean, this the RB route was getting across that really well. They got caught in the last second, but like I said, you're reading that first. You're reading that RB route. Typically, he'll get open best under cover 3 and cover 4 zones, like right here. I'm not really sure what he has, but none of those guys really got separation. So, taking the X route as your last read, the B route really isn't part of the read structure at all. Let's do that one more time. I think I threw that ball a little bit late. And then you can see right here, we can get in front of that. I mean, one of those 3 routes will be open just about every single time. Next up, we have the halfback inside zone. It's another play from this formation where essentially, it's the best inside run in the formation. There's no real reads needed. except, you know, you just want to make sure that you have a little bit of a gap to the left side. But this play here does a pretty good job of blowing open holes. These inside zone runs are definitely some of the most consistent in Madden 22, and it works really well with the stretch play. So, like here, I could easily switch over to the stretch play because there's not necessarily a gap, or I can just run this and try to take it outside. But without a doubt, this is if you have spacing, if you have gaps, which a lot of defenses have. Some defenses have more than others. You can see you can really have a lot of success, and you know, just get to the next level. Like that there, that guard typically will try to get to that second level. He did a pretty good job there. Let's watch the replay. Early on, it didn't look like this guard was going to peel off. If I can get over here real quick. Alright, whatever, but yeah, so you can see he starts off with the double team. These inside zones typically start with a double team and then they get to the next level, which is why I ran directly at him before peeling outside, because I wanted to make sure that he sealed that block so that I would have that space. Next up out of the single back wing pair, we have the halfback stretch. It's another play where if it's overloaded to one side, you can just simply flip it, go the other way, and have a lot of success, because there's typically, you know, this formation forces the overload. It's not the defense itself. As you can see right here, when I motion this guy away from the line, and this is a trick that's been going on for a long time, the entire defense shifts. So it's really up to you. If you want to try to go that side, motioning him out can be helpful, because then you'll get that tight end on that receiver, or sorry, on that cornerback block, which can be helpful. Or in my opinion, it's best to just basically flip it and run it to the other side, based off the fact that this formation forces that overload look. You basically just have nothing to contest. Except with the PA tight end seam, pretty much just want to drag the B route. If you want to, you can drag the RB route and give yourself an extra blocker. It really doesn't matter. But ultimately, those two routes will get open against just about anything. You're really going front to back here. You're really going to look from the short route to the mid route, and then to the deepest route, which is the comeback, which you can see right there. I had a lot of success, but here we've got a man zero blitz. The comeback's going to beat that. As I don't know what happened there. I guess I made a bad adjustment after I threw the ball. But you can see against man or zone, it's really pretty much the same read. You're just pretty much reading the drag to the crosser to the comeback route, and one of those three should be open just about every single time. Here, probably should have thrown a little bit earlier, but you can see it's just a front to back read, really easy. Next up, we have the PAX burst cross. It's another play that's good against random plays. I'm just going to put the B route here on a streak, the A route on a drag, and it's pretty much, you know, reading front to back. If the running back's open here in the flat, I'm going to take that. It's typical of a cover 3 or a cover 4, but I'm really working my way from front to back. I'm really working from the running back to the drag to the A route. The B route is really just there to pull coverage. This is pretty much going to be all that I do here. You can see, like I said, somebody's always going to be open right there. That was probably the most safe route. It took me a little while to decipher, because I thought that the deep route was going to be there, but ultimately something will be here when it comes to all these particular plays. You see right here, that was probably man coverage, but I think my controller was on the linebacker. I got to be better about being on the defensive tackle with this remote, just so I don't necessarily run into those problems. Let's do that one more time. I said that one there probably wasn't too indicative of what I was going to be looking at. I said right here, there's 3 levels crossing. One of them will be open every single time. The spacing is pretty impossible for any defense to take away. Next up, we have the PAX burst cross. Another cover 3 1-play touchdown on old gen consoles. You have to run this from a hash mark, and you have to run it to the open side of the field. So I'm just going to motion in the X route here, put him on a streak. Then I'm going to put the B route on the streak. I'm going to block the running back and slide my protection to the left. That's all I really have to do. Then I'm just waiting for this X route to cross 35 yards so I can pass lead him away from the safety. As you can see right there, it gets past, although that wasn't necessarily the best catching animation. We'll go and we'll do that again. You know, as far as I'll put the B route on the streak, and I'll put the RB route on the drag for a check down. As far as the blocking adjustments, that's not really mandatory for the play to work. I'm just doing that because I find that it works best to double team. Number one, their best pass rusher, but number two, I like to roll in the direction of the throw. And then you can see right there, we get a great pass lead, we get the touchdown that time. So you can see it's a very easy one-play touchdown as long as it's set up correctly. And you have to watch this.
I'm about to show you 5 secret hidden things in Madden 22 that I guarantee you don't know about. Starting with number 1, I'm going to show you a secret tip to get better
Let's talk about women using it maybe a little bit too much. I mean, to the
Take me a couple more blasts, goddammit.
For the cheapest, fastest, most reliable butt coins in the market, check out my coin sponsor, AOBAH.com, and use discount code MONEY for 3% off. Link in the description below. Welcome back, Money Team. It's the Mad Money Shop. Snip of the matches, as always. Got the offense for guys today out of the Baltimore Ravens playbook. This is the that I just put out. If you guys don't know, I've got about 3 or 4 ebooks out by now. I think it's more like 5, actually, if I include my custom playbook. But all that stuff's linked in the description below. The offense I'm going to show you today, though, I'm not sure if it's in any other playbook. I haven't looked yet. I know the Ravens is loaded with rare formations and rare plays. So really, this is only in the Ravens. I'll try to put in the description how many playbooks this is in. The offense itself is the normal wide off close. This offense would work on current gen and next gen, although there's a slightly different way to home run cover 3. But other than that, this offense is every single defense in the game. If you guys want to see more out of the Ravens playbook, let me know in the comment section as always. Now, as far as what plays you use what plays for, it's really simple. It's very easy to remember. The Y stick dig is your cover 2 man or cover 2 zone. Anything cover 2, the Y stick dig, you won't play touchdown. That includes cover 6, cover 9, coverages like that where half the coverage is a cover 2. So you have to isolate which side it is and run against that. Your double slants a cover 3 won't play touchdown. It's also a very good play against cover 1 man, but I'm going to call just cover 3 won't play touchdown. Whether you're going against current gen or next gen, consoles. Whether it's video. Then escape is a cover 4 one pick touchdown, where it's cover 4 palms, cover 4 quarters, or cover 4 drop regular. This is a one pick touchdown against all 3. So you have a one pick touchdown against these 3 plays. If I were to show a 4th play, I'm not sure if I will. I'll probably have extra plays on my Patreon and do that. The next file would definitely be on there. And as always, this video is watching one of my coin sponsors at AOBAH.com. So get your bucks in. So it shouldn't stand out too much to your opponent. I'm going to motion them and put them on streak. That's all we're going to do. And this wire out here is just going to completely destroy this outside. Now, I don't really have my fastest guy. I could have Hollywood Brown out here running this. Obviously, that would be even easier. But you can see, even with a decent speed guy like DuVernay, it's just super seriously easy in a one-play touchdown against cover 2. If I really want to, I could also put my A around the drag, give myself a little bit of a check down. This would probably be the ideal setup, block the running back. Although the play gets going so instantly, it's like I don't even have to do all that extra dressing. I mean, this is just something that just busts out in the open really quickly. So a very easy play against cover 2. But don't look now, this play is also a very good play against cover 2 man, which typically isn't the case. So let's pick cover 2 man. Now we're going to do the exact same setup. We're going to put this guy on a streak here. Block my right back one more time. We may around the drag. Like I said, this is best practice. You're going to see you get a very favorable animation, even though I have one of the best safeties in the game, one of the best man coverage safeties in the game, in Tyrann Mathieu, covering a very poor receiver. Same setup, whether you're running against cover 2 man, cover 2 zone, doesn't matter. The wide route just doesn't really get jammed, and he just gets outside here above the safety. Even on this particular play, you can see right there, we do get caught that time, but you can see how explosive this is. We're going to do that one time against a dime, so we have a cornerback doing that, just to show you guys it's going to be the same result. Like I said, I'm only motioning this guy to put him on a streak because I really want that that safety to get pulled back as much as possible. So you're going to see same thing. He does not get jammed, and because of that, he just gets outside and gets a very easy one-play touchdown. An even easier one, because honestly, Tyrann Mathieu is probably a better cornerback than the 4th cornerback on anybody's team, really. So you can see how that play is glitching out, So you can see how glitchy the first play is against cover 2. How about cover 3? Next play we're going to have is the double slant. Like I said, this is going to work whether it's current gen or next gen. It's just a very different setup. We're going to start off with current gen because that's what we're on right now. This is another play where you're going to want to run it from the hash mark to the open side of the field, but it's to the other side this time. You're going to make a unique motion here. This is the only time you're going to make this motion. You're going to motion out this tight end. On the motion out that tight end, I'm going to put the B route here on a streak or a fade once again. I don't think it really matters. But you're going to see, number one, this cornerback is well out of position. And the fact that these two zones are right next to each other, I think they just get really crossed up in communications. You can see right off the line, we got Hollywood Brown just speeding right up the streak. And if you watch the cornerback, we'll go to the replay. If you watch the cornerback, I don't know what happens there, but he just, like I said, I really think it's because these two zones are so close to each other pre-snap, they don't know how to communicate with one another because they just both end up on an island instantly in the wrong direction. I mean, this is a cover 3 1-play touchdown 8 yards down the field. You know what I mean? Like, he's instantly gone as the second he gets off the line because these cornerbacks just kind of bug out. And I can throw the ball right now. I could bullet pass lead right now outside, and with this speed, I'm going for an easy 1-play touchdown from anywhere on the field. We'll try to do that, actually. We're going to try to throw the ball as quick as possible to see how quickly we can throw this ball and get a 1-play touchdown, because this is something that's just, look at that ball. We're out. Ball's out. Nobody's in my area. I still find it's best probably to hold it as long as possible to get that explosive animation, because you never know. Your opponent could take a better angle than a computer online. But you can see how explosive this is. I mean, this is very easy. If this is if it's a man coverage, a lot of times cover 3s look like man cover 1s. The slants are obviously going to beat that, so just keep that in mind. I like to throw it as late as possible. You can see how that safety definitely catches up, though, the longer the ball's in the air. So it's really up to you when you want to throw it, but it's a 1-play touchdown from anywhere. Now, there was only one difference when it comes to current gen compared to next gen, and that's the cover 3 1-play touchdown. So for that, we're going to go with the double slant. It's still the same, cover 3 is easy to remember, but the double slant is different on how it beats cover 3. So don't just pick the double slant. The only thing you really got to remember is you got to run this from a hash mark to the open side of the field. Like right here, I'm on the right hash mark, running it to the open side of the field. You got to make that same motion in that we made in a lot of plays, and then you got to put this X route on a streak or a fade. I find the fade is a little bit better. Sometimes I feel like the fade just avoids getting zone chucked a little bit more. Then I'm going to block the running back, although that's not really critical. I just want extra blocking. All I really have to do then, I'm going to slide my protection to the left a little bit because that's what's going to be best for the pass lead to roll in this direction. And then you can see here, once again, there's an issue. I've explained this all the time when it comes to cover 3 1-play touchdowns on current gen consoles. They're very different. Now, there's a couple things that you have to watch for when you do this. Number one, you have to watch this cornerback, which on this particular play, and most cover 3 1-play touchdowns that I put out like this on current gen, they all do the same thing. Essentially, this cornerback here will eventually stop. The point of that is, the real reason that they're stopping has something to do with this crossing route. Like they're supposed to take that crossing route on, but realistically, he doesn't do anything. He just stops completely on this play. So, like I said, super glitchy formation. But ultimately, this particular